and research, pursues truth wherever it leads, not where those with political.
To listen to Northern Lights Public Radio? Of course, in your car. Online through our websites at kchw.org or northernlightspublicradio.com. We're on your smartphone, too. Use the Radio Deck or TuneIn app. And now we're even on Amazon. If you've got the new Amazon Echo with the Alexa app, just say, Alexa, play KCHW, and boom, you're there. We're mixing it up. Old school radio or new modern technology. It's always KCHW 102.7. This Friday night at 7 o'clock, it's the return of international recording artist Kevin Dorin.
Suffering is in the sea. It's sowing, reaping, feeding me. Kick me to the chest, baby. Hit me with your heart. Pulling on all of your anger. Treat me like the world.
Kevin visited Chewelah nearly a decade ago for a sold-out fundraiser for KCHW, and now we're thrilled to present him in our new Northern Lights Theater at the KCHW studios. This intimate experience is for one night only, this Friday, and tickets are very limited.
Grab your shoes and get ready to go. I've got a plane willing to take us down to Mexico.
Showtime is at 7 p.m. and doors open at 6:30 for 47 of the cushiest seats in Chewelah. Get your tickets now for just $20 at kchw.org or northernlightspublicradio.com. You can support the arts and public radio this Friday night.
No, that's my cookie. Good morning. It's the KCHW Morning Show. It is Friday, June 14th. I can't believe it's June 14th already. Tonight, we have Kevin Dorin live in the KCHW Theater here, the Northern Lights Theater. We also have him live on our morning show with us today, joining us for the whole entire show. Good morning, Kevin.
No way!
Yes way.
Good morning, Chewelah.
Wow.
Good morning. We're getting off to a little bit of a late start, doing some sound checks in here, but we are here and ready to go. And excited
That's the
to
deal.
Have him. Yeah.
I want to start off, Kevin. Thank you. It is so good to see you. It's been so long. I've been, since the last time you played years ago, I've been following you, on your Facebook page and stuff, and so thrilled that I think I asked Chuck to reach out to you, or he had found you in one of our old videos. And so glad that you've come back to Chewelah to put a show on for you. It's totally awesome. And I was thinking last night, I am so bummed that I'm not in Chewelah for this. And I was thinking, as a dad and Father's Day weekend, if I was in Chewelah, the one thing I would want is for one of my kids to take me to the show tonight with you.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, it is. You are. I am so thrilled you're back. You're an awesome musician. One of the few people that when they play, it's kind of my rating for good music and talented people, is if you make goosebumps appear on my arms with your music or bring a tear to my eye, and you are totally that guy.
Aw.
Thanks,
You
Scott.
are.
That's
It's
kind
just
of a big
doing that
deal.
promo of you was so much fun. The first song I started off with, though, there was I had to really edit your song, and I hope you don't mind, because there was a very innocuous 4-letter word in there that everybody uses, but that we can't say on the radio.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
All right. So just remember that tonight in the show, because tonight's concert is a live broadcast recording, so that we can replay this in the future. We have his last one too, and we're kind of, I didn't have the audio still all set up or the time to rip it off the video, but it is online if people want to check it out. It's on our YouTube channel, not Facebook. But I'm so excited you're here.
He really is. He's been excited about this since the beginning. I did want to clarify really quick. Actually, Kevin reached out to us.
He did.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I did.
Yeah, I just responded back and said, yeah, please.
Please.
Yeah, last time I played here was I thought it was kind of a magical experience for me. I hope it was for the audience as well. And you guys have like really developed this into an awesome theater experience. So I'm excited to play tonight.
Yeah.
All right.
Could you get a little closer to that mic? Like I said,
Getting intimate with the microphone. There
you
we
almost
go.
have to put that thing inside your mouth. Yeah.
You know, Kevin, the last time you played, you afterwards, you gave me, and I don't know if you realized it, but you gave me one of the biggest compliments I ever got. You were asking about some of the equipment we used during your show and me recording you. And I remember I always told you, I was like, yeah, it's all amateur, the cheapest stuff I can find on Amazon pieced together. And you go, well, that's the best live capture anybody's ever caught of me. Can I use that on that live cut on one of my albums? And that really, I mean, that made my day. I got really excited about that.
Yeah, I think I did use that. I used it on an album I gave out. I like to do this a lot. I like to create little albums and have a limited run of them for people because music nowadays, I call it fast food music with streaming music. It's disposable in a certain way. So I think I put out Katie something in the blues, and I did about 200 CDs just for the people who showed up to that show.
Oh,
Wow. All right. Very cool. So we are going to have Kevin perform later on in the show, and we'll be interviewing and talking to him about his music. We're going to go ahead and don't forget, Chuck and Kevin are going to be at the farmers market today, correct, guys?
Yeah. Are you going to be joining us the whole day? Or you're just going to be kind of wandering around and popping in and saying hi?
As much as I can, absolutely. I got to have maybe a nap at some point this afternoon.
yeah.
But other than that, I'll be there.
Will you be napping in the studio?
Well, that's why we put our banner across the front of the table and have a big long tablecloth so I can sneak under the table and take a nap during the market when I need to.
I've taken lots of naps in that studio, just saying.
I have, but none of them have been intentional. You know, like, oh, let me just sit down here on the couch and get some work done. And next thing you know, I wake up and it's 2 hours later. Yeah. Yeah. We got the
All right, let's do
futon.
that. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying we got the purple futon over there to replace Mooch's couch.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately didn't make it through the transition, but that's okay.
All right, let's take a look at that weather forecast as we go into a Father's Day weekend. Partly cloudy this morning, then becoming cloudy this afternoon, high around 75. Let's see, winds up to 15 miles an hour. Overcast tonight, down to 51. Tomorrow, kind of a rough one. 60 degrees for a high. Scattered thunderstorms, rain at 50%. Get this, overnight low tomorrow night, 39.
That's crazy. It's been the other day. It was it barely made it below 70 at night. And
So if you live up by the ski hill, expect some frost.
Now I got to figure out where I put my coat.
For Sunday, then Father's Day, 61 and 41, mostly cloudy skies. And then Monday, 66 and 43, mostly cloudy. This could be a good thing for the show tonight because this weather forecast, not good for camping on Father's Day weekend.
No. So you should stay home for
at all.
Father's Day weekend. Come see the show tonight.
Yes,
And
because
then,
we've got some cool stuff happening throughout town, and you can do it all. All right, so we'll cover that in just a second. Monday right now, 66 and 43, mostly cloudy as well. Doesn't look like it's going to get nice and start warming back up until next Wednesday with a mostly sunny day and a high of 77. But we can always here in Stevens County use that rain.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, especially this year. It's been dry already, and there's already been fires happening. There was a fire, I guess, between Medical Lake and Spokane that evacuated a good portion of the area. I haven't gotten any updates on that. I don't even know. Did you go through that area, Kevin? Do you know?
I was actually driving right through there when I got the alarm on my phone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Have you heard any news about whether we're the radio station? We should probably keep up on this stuff, but
I heard nothing. I tried to seek it out, but I was driving, so
yeah,
drove safely instead of diddling on my phone.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
All right, at some point, I'll maybe during the break, I'll log on to InstaWeb and take a look and see where that's at for you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Today, around town, we have adult pickleball this morning at the golf course, and that's from 9 to 11:30. Of course, we have the Big Farmers Market we were just talking about. That goes from 11 to 3:30 in the Chihuahua City Park. It is an awesome farmers market, and today, Chuck will have that very special guest, as we do in the studio, Kevin Dorin.
Yeah.
Kevin, did you bring, because some people are going to hear you play, and, of course, we got the show tonight. But did you bring any merchandise, some Kevin Dorin merchandise that people could pick up from you at the farmer's market?
I've actually got, I think, 100 I Am Not Afraid stickers, which is one of the songs I'll be playing today. on the morning show, hopefully, and tonight as well. And you can get my merchandise all on the website because I'm sure you guys are all aware, because inflation has affected you in its own wonderful way. The overheads for making merch right now are ridiculous. So I've got a print-on-demand situation where I've got a ton of merch on my website, and I'm trying to drive people to my website because you can get my free live album that you heard in the intro here there, and that's where artists need people to go. We need you to stay away from Spotify in particular until those industries finally die so that we can create original music with actual income again.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm just sending people to my website, and I got this sticker that I hope that you will put on your laptop, your car, your refrigerator. There's thousands of them already around the Pacific Northwest and up in Canada. And people tell me, and they message me every week, and they say thank you for just the reminder in the inevitable chaos to be brave.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
some goodies.
Yeah, we had to do
Okay.
for the convening. We had all the creative districts in Washington State met here last week. We were trying to get T-shirts to give out to attendees that registered, and man, to get the print, to have our own T-shirts printed in time, we kind of a last minute decision, but to get them printed in here, $38 a T-shirt.
Yep.
You can never sell those and make money.
No.
No, there's no
as a
profit
fundraiser.
margin in it.
No.
It's mostly if you have a message worth sharing, you're doing it for the purpose
Yeah.
of sharing, and that's what my merch is right
Yeah.
now. I'm really proud of it. I got some great designs, and I put the prices at, so I'm barely making any profit from it. So I'm just hoping that people will wear the merchandise because it means something to them.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool.
Oh, very good. Yeah, Chuck had brought up at one point when he took over the station of bringing back T-shirts, because we used to do them with memberships, but back then I could get a T-shirt for $6 to $8, and give it away with a membership. But it got to the point where, like you're saying, we would have to like double the price of our membership in order to give them a T-shirt, and we really found that only a few people really wanted the shirts. I mean, people would come in and get a membership, and I'd go to hand them a T-shirt, and they go, I got too many T-shirts.
Too many T-shirts. Is that a thing?
Yeah,
I don't have
guess
too
so.
many.
Now,
But-
the one that escaped that is when we put up the big tower. We had a T-shirt that had a picture of our a tower guy on it, our what do you call those? Our mascot.
Our tower guy.
Yeah, the tower guy. And it said, I helped raise the tower, and had him on it. And those were very popular. But it's kind of like what you're saying, because people donated for that specific cause, and it meant more to them. And getting a T-shirt
Yeah.
for that was a thing of pride you could do, because, we took this signal that was only going 10 miles in any direction and turned it into a 50-mile plus signal. I imagine in one of the places we do really well, and you can check it out, Kevin, is all the way into Coeur d'Alene.
Oh,
Once you, so if you go, if you're leaving the like Chihuahua, and you do the north end of the Bigelow Gulch, cut across to Argonne to I-90, you can listen to the radio station almost the entire way to the top of the pass.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna do that because my Subaru does not have a working stereo system outside the radio. So
Oh wow.
I
Well,
will definitely do that.
we cut out a little bit, when you go between here and Spokane, there's a couple areas, where you lose a little bit, and then you lose us about Wandermere. But then as you go downtown, once you get towards the hospitals, we pick right back up again.
South Hill's
yeah.
South Hill's a good spot, and those are really places that aren't in our footprint for the license, that are kind of like a bonus. I was out at Hayden Lake. We went to Silverwood and got rained out, so we went to get dry clothes at the Walmart. And we're sitting in the parking lot, and I accidentally bumped my radio sitting in that parking lot, crystal clear, KCHW in Hayden Lake. I was like,
Nice.
no way. So there's some spots in Idaho. All right. Let's get back to events.
Okay.
I'm getting all off course here. Where did I leave off? Okay, so we
don't
talked
even
about
know.
the farmers market. Then tonight, there's a couple events, including our concert. We'll roll this out first. Between 5 and 8 at the Quartzsite Brewery, a fundraiser for the Colville Valley Animal Sanctuary. And Janet sent this in, and then she goes on to explain how they're bringing animals to this. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you can get cozy with a dog or a cat and a beer.
And Kevin, if you want to bring a pet with you to finish out your tour and go back home with, they're available, man.
Oh, I lost 4 animals last year, 4 dogs. So don't tempt me.
Oh,
I'm feeling lonely with no canine companionship.
oh man, 4 in 1 year.
4 in 1 year.
That is,
yeah.
I have 4 at home right now, and we're about to lose one. He's 14 years old, and he's not doing well. But man, that's gonna be rough. I couldn't imagine losing them all at once. That's horrible. I'm sorry, man.
It's melancholy. It was a pretty positive experience ultimately because they had all lived excellent lives, and one of them was supposed to pass away when he was 9. He had a heart that was 4 times too large. And every vet that ever met him, he was their favorite dog because he would just survive and thrive. And I actually got songs about him.
Oh,
Our current dog. The last time we went to the vet, we brought one of the other dogs in, and the vet came in and said, "Oh, so how's Jack? How did things end up with Jack?" And we're like, "Oh, he's fine." And she just totally broke her whatever the demeanor they're supposed to have, and she's like, "What? He's still alive?" And I'm like, "Yep, yep." That was a year ago. One half of his heart stopped working.
Oof.
So it was pumping out, but not in. And somehow they put him on some steroids, and boop, that sucker started right up again.
Yeah, you just got to give those
like a
dogs a
kickstart.
chance. They've proved some things to me for sure about resiliency.
Yep. He had a couple weeks ago. It was a Sunday. If the vets had been open that Sunday, that would have been his last day. We were ready. We were calling around trying to get someone to come in to bring him in because, man, he was done. That was about 3 weeks ago. Now, fine. Totally fine.
wow.
Bouncing off
Well,
the
kind
walls.
of. Kevin, you remember Mooch the cat in the studio?
Oh, of course,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, Mooch just passed away a few weeks ago. That's probably the first time I can talk about it without losing my cookies.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear
And
that.
it's tough. Yeah, 15 years, and that cat was more dog than cat. She did whatever you told her to, understood everything you said, and probably logged about 40,000 miles of camping with me in that 15 years. She was the road trippingest animal. She didn't care if it was car, motorhome, tent. She was all about the camping and never left your side, which was always, like we're up at the horse camp one day and they've just got little logs that outline your spot up in the Colville National Forest. And she wouldn't leave the logs. She's like, I know this is my space. I'm safe at my RV. I'm not wandering out of this. You don't find cats that travel well and enjoy camping. And she was really a different animal.
So you say when she listens to you and does whatever you say,
Only woman ever.
Wow.
For me.
Does that mean the time she bit the mayor on the air? That was
yeah. Classic Mooch.
that was
Yeah.
intentional?
Live on the air, bites the mare in the hand and draws blood.
Oh, wow.
And every time after that, Dorothy was really good sport about it. However, the city hall did call me after that later that day and said, "Are you around the station?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, the chief wants to come by." And we had a different chief at the time. And I said, "Why, does he need to broadcast something?" She goes, "No, he's coming over to euthanize Mooch for biting the mare." And it was all some big city hall joke on Scott.
Wow.
But that sheer second of panic set in. And Dorothy was really good about it. Every time, though, she came to be interviewed after that, she would open the door of the radio station, step in, look around, and go, "Where's the cat?" But it was a love bite. That was just because she was getting petted, she was happy. It was just that cats get a little excited sometimes with the love bite.
So. Yeah, sure, Mooch. We believe that. No,
I have the same problem, so look out.
I know you bit me once. It's a good thing you're in Maine. I was petting his hair. It was awful.
From rabies, he had to go through a
Yeah.
whole series of shots.
It was horrible.
right.
They do those in the stomach. Yeah.
All right, so with Colville Animal Sanctuary fundraiser going on at the Quartzsite Brewery as we come full circle, 5 to 8. So plenty of time to go by there, see the animals, and then doors for our concert right across the highway at KCHW. It's doors open at 6:30. Show starts at 7. Now, if you've been listening to the promo, and this is with our buddy that's with us today, Kevin Dorin, if you just tuned in, and he's going to play in a little bit. But the nice thing about this is you could catch both events if you wanted tonight. and go out and support 2 nonprofits in the Chihuahua area, which is a great thing too. Doors open at 6:30. Show starts at 7. If you heard the promo, I talk about those 47 cushy seats. We have a few extra chairs, so if we have some extra people, but you might want to get there early if you want one of the cushiest seats in town, and they are. It's like sitting in a recliner.
It is, and they even have your own table if you want to take notes or set your camera down.
Have a snack.
Yeah. So there you go.
All right, in case you have a sippy cup.
just you,
saying.
Scott. Just you, Scott.
Yeah. No, Lynn used to bring us sippy cups all the time for shows. I never asked what was in them, but there was sippy cups.
Really? Like the little kids sippy cups?
No,
Okay,
big
okay.
adult sippy cup. Same thing though. Same kind of thing.
I've got my water bottle. My wife always teases me that it looks like a sippy cup because it's got like the top and it's got one of those flavored cartridges, and you like suck it through the flavored cartridge, and it kind of looks and sounds like a little kid sippy cup. Either that or it sounds like a bong. I don't know. Yeah.
All right, Chuck, we won't go there.
Right.
Get all carried. All right, there you go. That is, I'm doing a time check because I know we started a little bit late
We're
today.
good.
There you go. That's events for this weekend. You got a couple great ones tonight. Other than that, it's a little light. We do have our own Doug McQuain doing his blues jam at Fired Up Pizza at 4 on Sunday if you want to
That's
go
right.
out and catch some more live music. It's always a fun time. And I think we could move along to bits and breaks this morning, Chuck.
Sure.
We do have a few things about Father's Day, and I'll let I've been talking too much, so I'll let Chuck take over. Back in 2011, sports writer Jeff Pearlman shared Father's Day that he'd been the emotional punching bag for 2 women who were clearly unhappy in their marriages, unhappy because their husbands weren't being good dads. That's when Jeff came up with the 10 Commandments of righteous fatherhood, and here's Chuck Ritchie to sum them up for us. Quick question, though. Do you have any kids, Kevin?
I do not. I love kids, though.
All right.
I do too, especially with barbecue sauce. No.
Ooh.
Oh, oops. I didn't say that out loud.
I teach guitar to a lot of kids, so teaching guitar to children is one of my favorite things to do in the world, especially nowadays because it means I'm getting them out of off the TV and off a device probably, and that's a huge win.
That is cool. I've been trying to talk about doing some programs with kids here at the radio too, and I think it's crazy. You listen radio, it's been taken over again, like you said, by Spotify and all these streaming services, and you talk to the millennials, even my age generally, and they're like, I used to have a radio, but you talk to the younger kids, like the 10 and under, love radio. I mean, I think to them they see it as sort of this like cool sort of retro technology that they can enjoy. A lot of the younger kids, even up to mid-teens, they're getting into like the original Ataris and the original Nintendos and all the analog stuff. And we play on Sunday mornings. We play kids programming, and then throughout the day we play old time radio programs. It's amazing how many kids come up to me and say, I love the old time radio shows on Sundays. And it's
I'm glad to hear that. That makes me happy because I think that there's a lot of value in our older culture and our older, especially analog mediums. And if you are inundated with just the advertising and the marketing for the digital stuff, you just don't get to experience it. And so maybe as the kids, it's before they've been indoctrinated, and they're seeing the value that at least I had when I grew up in radio. And I learned so much from radio, and I learned a lot about music from radio because humans were soliciting their personal opinions. And it's my opinion that you need to have a human to solicit music to you. And that's a big problem with the music industry right now, is that an algorithm is like in a market, in trading stock markets, you'd call it a trailing indicator. It's never going to be able to see what the culture needs in the future, and that's why radio DJs are so important.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And then you see, on TV and stuff in this culture, you see, you turn on Nickelodeon and all these shows, they're all like, they follow the same format. They just go, A, B, C, and they're terrible. I mean, I love good TV, but some of the stuff out there, especially for kids programming, they just, like you said, they follow an algorithm and they just stick to it. And every show done, all these kids shows in the last 10, 15, 20 years, are all the same show.
Oh yeah, I've got little little nephew and niece, and so I've watched a fair amount of these, and I agree with you completely.
Every once in a while, you get something that comes along like Yo Gabba Gabba when my kids were little that was run by a punk rock band. And it was a kid's show where it's just bizarre, off the wall. You know, they had really cool celebrity guests, but yeah. Anyway,
Right,
so
Chuck, have you
Father-
interviewed a child under 10 yet on the radio?
I have not.
So I can't wait. So this is like my 40. No, next year will be my 40th year as a broadcaster. And every child under the age of 10 I have interviewed over the entire career, at some point during your interview, will literally scream into the microphone.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Especially if it's a group of them. At some point, it always happens. So just be ready for that.
Well, I have done some like live broadcasting out at events, you know, like the winners of like the zucchini regatta and the apple pie eating contest and the stuff at the market. I have. You know, and I've got the varied responses from, you know, yeah, to this one girl, man. She just grabbed the mic out of my hand and I just want to thank my parents, and just going on and on and on and on. And I was like, okay, you come see me at the station. We got a job for you.
Scott, it's funny.
No
It's
fear.
funny you've had that experience with children under 10 because I've been an engineer and MC and somebody doing all kinds of stage performances for years, and it's usually the adults that scream into my microphones.
Oh,
I'm guessing usually alcohol is involved when that
Possibly.
happens. Possibly.
Possibly.
Yeah. That's fair. Sometimes those are the performers.
Oh yeah. There's a percentage chance that that's happening. Yeah.
Mom, I love you, Mom. Yeah.
The bass players, you just never give them a microphone.
No, that's you just stand in the back, play your bass.
Yeah. Stay
Drummer-
in your corner.
Drummer might occasionally give him a microphone, but just, you know, let him do
The
his
drummer's
yeah.
the guy you put the microphone in front and he just mumbles.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to say.
love you guys.
Unless it's Phil Collins. I'm just saying.
Fair.
Yeah. Alrighty, so back in you already read the first part. These are, I'm gonna get back to it, the 10 Commandments of fatherhood. And as we know, Father's Day was, as I learned yesterday, invented in Spokane.
It was.
Yeah, it's ours. We claim it.
It's ours. We
Yeah.
own it.
We own Father's Day. Yep. So he begins by saying, pay close attention because behind your back, people are pitying your wife. Ooh. So no golf on weekends. Seriously, it's ludicrous. Your spouse is home with the kids all the time, and you think it's okay to take 5 hours on a weekend to pursue your own pastime? Ooh, shots are fired there. Man, oh man. These are going to be pretty unpopular with some people listening. Wake up. Literally wake up with your kids at least one of the 2 weekend days and perhaps both. I know you wake up early for work, not even remotely the same thing though. Raising up alongside your kids is hard and crazy and gasp, sort of fun. If you just stop moping. I actually do like when we have nothing to do on the weekends. I really like getting up and making a special breakfast for the kids. Yeah.
Good.
I think
That's a
that's
good
always,
one.
granted, it may not, I wouldn't technically always call it morning per se, but you know, we do have the first meal of the day. Sometimes it's
Brunch,
especially on
that's the
weekend.
way to
There
go.
There you go. I call it brunch. What's usually the kids, they don't get up. You know, they're teenagers. They don't get up. They don't get up after before noon on the weekends.
That's healthy when you're a teenager. You shouldn't
Yeah.
be getting up at 7, 8 a.m.
No, I would think there's something wrong if you did.
Yeah. You're not living hard enough.
Actually, I do have my daughter. She will get up. She'll get up at like 6 a.m. and get up and like make herself breakfast. And, you know, I would like to say feed
Impressive.
the dogs and let them out, but she just gets her own thing and then she goes back in her room again. And then
Is she a reader? Is she into reading books?
she draws. She draws and
Oh.
does animations and illustrations. And
super
yeah.
cool.
She does anime stuff. She does.
I
creates
love to animate
characters.
as well, actually.
Yeah.
One of the songs I'm singing, the I'm Not Afraid song, I animated the music video for it. It took me like 4 years.
Cool. No, I saw that video. I didn't know that was you animating it. That's awesome. Did I see that? Or no, I saw the album, the art cover, the cover art.
That's a screenshot from the music video.
Oh, okay, yeah. Is that out? Is that available? The music
yeah,
video?
it's on YouTube. It's been out for a year. I've played this song for tens of thousands of people on stages, and it only has 1,300 views. I have a feeling, I know because Meta has banned my Apple ID. I can't even log on to Instagram with my iPhone.
Oh, wow.
I have, I think, what they call a shadow ban. And if you hear the song, you might understand why.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll have to go check that out. The next one here is change diapers. If you have little kids and you don't know how to change diapers, or even worse, refuse to change diapers, you, sir, are pathetic. It's not all that hard, even though poop sometimes does wind up on the fingies. It just does. Wash your hands. That's what it's for.
I would challenge. I was a single dad with a baby, now only one. So I would challenge. I bet you I've changed more diapers than most guys, and several of them put together.
Yep.
It is something guys avoid.
When I have twins. When they were young and in diapers. Man, I've always had problems with my flexibility. I've never been a flexible person. Really, really good work on getting flexible and sitting on the floor and stretching out. I did a lot of stretching over that first year or so. Just saying, it's good cardio or whatever. Yep.
It's more information than I wanted. Now I'm picturing it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I changed a lot of diapers. I've known guys who have children who will not change the diaper.
I've never changed one diaper.
Never changed a diaper. How do you call yourself a father?
That's unconscionable.
Never change your kid's diaper. I mean, not the most pleasant thing in the world, but it's just do it. It's part of parent. I couldn't imagine. Anyway, the next one here, and especially if you have daughters, this is really important. Play with the dolls, paint your toenails. Know a lot of fathers that refuse to get girlish with their girls. But come on, man, put aside the machismo, break out the Barbie, slather on some pink polish, and make a friend for life. Nobody's watching. And if they do, I've gone out in public with my pink or red fingernails, and you just say, I got kids, and people are like, oh, okay, cool. Nobody cares.
I bet you I got at least 1,000 hours of Barbie playtime in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody cares.
Yeah. All
So,
right.
do things you want to do. It's easy to take the kids to the driving range because you want to be there. Now try spending the day crawling through one of those wormholes at the nearby kiddie gym.
Okay.
My problem is I spend a lot of time away from home, especially since I've been doing this job, and I always get my kids. I'm like, dude, you guys, I run a radio station. We have a theater, we have a projector, a pull down screen, a really cool. I was about to say a word I shouldn't say on the air. A really cool stereo system in the theater. Just hang out. You can put on a movie, and I'll just be here getting stuff done. And they're like, nah, I'm just going to stay in my room. Come on, kids. Yep. Order the wife to bug off. I recently met a mother who told me her husband hadn't been alone with their 9-year-old daughter for more than 2 hours ever. That's pretty inexcusable. Let your wife do her own thing, relax, take a run, whatever, entertain your children solo. They don't bite. I'm going to add to this. I have a problem with people using the term babysitting for their own kids, especially with fathers. Oh, he's babysitting his kids. No, you don't babysit your own children. You are just with your kids.
Yeah, that's odd to phrase it that way for sure. That's a questionable situation.
I hear that a lot. Oh, he's such a good father. He even babysits his own kids. Like, what? No, you don't. No, you're just being
that's a complete loser.
Yeah.
I love hanging out with kids. I think it's because I've kept my inner child as close to the surface as possible. And so I get along really well with kids, and I speak their language.
Exactly.
Which I'm super proud of.
I'm still a little kid. I'm still waiting to grow up. I think that's a big secret. They don't tell you when you're a kid, that feeling of being this lost child out in the world, that doesn't go away. You see these adults out seeming like they have their stuff together.
Yeah, you got to keep that curiosity going.
Secret, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't.
That's
None
what
of us
kills
do.
the inner child is when you let the curiosity die.
Yep. You got to keep that sense of wonder. Surprise. Just once on a random day without meaning or purpose, show up early at your kid's school or camp or wherever. Say, get in the car and take them somewhere special. Just the two of you alone. A movie, a park, a hike. Those are the memories that last. I can see that. Take your kids out. Those dishes don't clean themselves, or nor do the toys. It's amazing how this one works. So you can pick up a dish, run under hot water with some soap. You rub it down. You dry it with a towel, and you put it back on the shelf. And they don't magically do that themselves, guys. Then you leave home and you come home and everything's clean and put away. It doesn't happen by magic.
Fake news, Chuck.
I know. Actually, at my house, that doesn't happen at all. I do it when I get home. Wake up your kid, not often, but if you want to score big points and create a killer memory moment, walk into the room at midnight, wake them up, go outside for 10 minutes to watch the stars. I did that when the Northern Lights were out. My daughter was asleep, and I was like, hey, pounding on the door. Come on, you got to check this out. Northern Lights are out. And she said no. She's like, maybe tomorrow.
I heard a lot of that.
My dad never
from my
gave you a
friends.
choice.
Yeah, I had a good friend of mine. She's a bartender at McDuff's in Sandpoint. She's fantastic. And she told me she had this whole plan, like getting off work. She, like, ran home as fast as she could, hoped her husband had everything ready. She had, like, all the blankets and, like, cushions set up so they could lay out in the field, and he didn't have anything ready. And so she hustles it all together, gets the kids in, gets them there. It's, like, amazing, you know, 'cause it's fantastic. And the kids are like,
Oh, this is some color in the sky. Cool.
But
Can
then
I
they
go to bed
started
now?
taking pictures with the iPhones, and then they were like,
Yeah.
I get it, you know? So
Yeah, really, with the camera, it really brings out a lot of those colors that you can't see with the naked eye.
oh, yeah.
Cool stuff.
My dad had a better trick. So he would get you up in the middle of the night to see an eclipse, shooting stars, northern lights. And when you started whining about it, he said, just get up. I won't make you go to school in the morning. And I tell you, you are right out of bed as a kid. You're going, yeah, really? We get to stay up in the middle of the night and I don't have to go to school tomorrow? Okay.
That is a good tactic. Well,
It is.
We homeschool, so I
More-
don't think it works with us, but you know.
All right,
I got one more here, the very last one. I think this one's very important. Learn this lesson as a child. For God's sakes, tell your kids you love them. They never see you, and they would probably like to know. And the thing that was instilled in us as a kid, you never know, just because life happens, you never know if that might be the last chance you get to tell somebody you love them. So take every chance you can. There you go.
And a lot of time, you know, there's a lot of old school rules that I think, you know, especially guys my age, even your age, Chuck, that have kids, that we grew up kind of in a different environment where men weren't really supposed to show their emotions, or they looked weak if they showed their emotions and that kind of stuff. I think I was lucky as a child because I had a dad who told you, I love you all the time. But I've talked to so many people that say their dad never said anything like that. And I think you kind of miss out on a stronger connection. So
You do.
Oh, sure.
You do. I consider showing your emotion manly, because any man can go around seeming macho, but it takes a real man to show themselves. I think that's just me. So
All right, I
really quick,
really wanted to pit Chuck and Kevin against each other in trivia today, but we are running long, and we want to get through our break. Thank the sponsors. We'll reset with a little bit of news and get ready to have a serious talk with Kevin about his art and his music. And after that, we're going to let him play a couple songs for a teaser for tonight's big show, which, don't forget, tickets are online right now. Get your tickets. Casey, are you still selling them online, Chuck? First, I should ask.
Yes. Yep. They're available at kchw.org. They're on our Facebook page. I'm going to get another post back up again as soon as the show is over here. We have an event going on our Facebook page that you can click on. We're going to have tickets with us at the farmers market today. There you go.
All right. And also, if you can't spell the call letters, you can get those tickets at northernlightspublicradio.com as well. We'll be right back.
Also,
with-
there's posters.
Go ahead.
There's posters up all around town, and there's a QR code on those posters. You just take a pic. You just point your phone at it with the camera, and it'll take you right to that link.
Excellent.
There you
Excellent.
go. There you go.
All right. When we come back, the music of Kevin Dorin on KCHW 102.7 Northern Lights Public Radio.
I let my yard get.
You're listening to Northern Lights Public Radio on 102.7 KCHW, Chewelah Valley, Deer Park.
This
This is the Public News Service Daily Newscast for June 14th, 2024. I'm Mike Bowen. Legal analysts continue to examine new U.S. Supreme Court opinions issued Thursday. In one of the more high-profile cases, the court unanimously preserved access to a medication that the Associated Press says was used in nearly two-thirds of all abortions in the U.S. last year. Separately, the court made it harder for the federal government to win court orders when it suspects a company of interfering in unionization campaigns. The Associated Press says the case stemmed from a labor dispute with Starbucks. Additional rulings are expected this month. That includes a case brought by attorneys representing Donald Trump, who argue the former president is entitled to so-called presidential immunity for criminal charges he faces related to efforts to overturn results from the 2020 election. The court also is expected to rule any day now on two cases that could allow judges to more easily overrule federal agencies, which could have big implications for environmental, consumer, and public health protections. The two cases aim to overturn the 1984 Chevron doctrine that said when ambiguous statutes are being challenged in court, judges must defer to the reasonable interpretation of agency experts. Jim Murphy is with the National Wildlife Federation.
It would give judges a lot more power to write very impactful regulatory provisions where those judges really don't have a lot of expertise.
Opponents of the Chevron doctrine say it gives too much power to the executive branch. The cases stem from a dispute where fishing crews are challenging requirements that they pay to have a monitor on board to guard against overfishing and bycatch of endangered species. Local election administrators have new guidance from Wisconsin's highest court on alternative early voting sites. A political expert says the timing is important for the battleground state ahead of the 2024 presidential election. The Wisconsin Supreme Court this week banned the use of mobile voting sites. But separately, the court kept in place rules that allow clerks to choose other alternative sites for absentee voting. University of Political Scientist Barry Burden says that means these offices will still have flexibility as they sort out logistics.
They face a lot of difficulties trying to find sites that are available. They're often repurposing a church or a school or a community building.
With the Supreme Court pausing a lower court's ruling that heavily restricted these other sites, Burden says clerks won't have added confusion as they meet deadlines for this year's election. The case has to do with the interpretation of state law that prohibits alternative sites from being set up in areas that give one political party an advantage over another. Burden and other political observers still expect the Wisconsin Supreme Court to issue a ruling soon in a case that seeks to reinstate ballot drop boxes. This is PNS. The city of Boston has been awarded nearly $10 million in federal funding to help build a climate-ready workforce. Catherine Carley reports.
More than 1,000 individuals will receive job training in construction, wastewater management, and more to combat the growing threat of sea level rise. U.S. Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo says a 21st century workforce must be climate literate.
If we're going to ensure that American workers can take advantage of the jobs that we are creating, then we have to be proactive about training folks so they have the skills they need to get the jobs that are available.
The program is one of 9 climate-related job programs nationwide funded by the Inflation Reduction Act and focused on economically disadvantaged communities, which often face disproportionate impacts from climate change. I'm Catherine Carley reporting.
Hurricane season is here, and conservationists are shining a light on the role salt marshes play in protecting coastal North Carolina communities. Studies find that these marshes absorb floodwaters, reducing property damage in nearby areas by an average of 20%. Biologist Charlie Deaton with the North Carolina Division of Marine Fisheries explains what salt marshes do to help build climate resilience.
They're good at helping us actually mitigate some of the carbon we've released into the atmosphere, and they are good for community resilience too. They protect landward shorelines from erosion, and salt marshes, larger scales, can actually reduce the impacts of storm surge and reduce flooding from that.
North Carolina has about 220,000 acres of salt marshes, but the protections they offer are dependent on their health and preservation. Coastal development, pollution, and climate change all pose threats to these ecosystems. And this weekend is Father's Day, and it will be tough for kids with a dad in jail or prison. More than 200,000 kids in Michigan have an incarcerated parent at some point in their lives. Statistics show an overwhelming percentage of those parents are fathers. Crystal Blair spoke with one of them and has this report.
48-year-old Tory Price was released from a Michigan prison last February after serving 17 years for armed robbery, a crime he says was fueled by a struggle with drug addiction. At the time, his son was only 2. Behind bars, Price says he connected with organizations, including the University of Michigan, to learn how to become an advocate for incarcerated parents.
Very passionate about helping folks that are still inside, about parents that are still inside. And, because today my son is 13 now, and because people advocated for me, we have a great relationship.
Price has expressed deep remorse for his crimes and says he's grateful to his family and supportive organizations for helping him maintain the father-son relationship while he was incarcerated. Crystal Blair reporting.
And this is Mike Moen for Public News Service. Member and listener supported, heard on interesting radio stations and your favorite podcast platform. Find our trust indicators at publicnewsservice.org.
All right, welcome back to the KCHW Morning Show. I got to get us off of our splash screen there. I can't find the one with the 3 of us here. I think it disappeared. I think it crashed on me, Scott.
All right. You don't need to see me.
There it is. There it is.
Okay.
It was hidden way in the back for those of you watching online.
They still can't see me. I'm so short.
you got your green screen backgrounds covering up half of you. You got no left side, Scott.
There it is. It's better. I just forgot to close the rest of the green screen.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Close your curtains,
I'm
Scott.
back in my virtual studio.
Anyway, welcome back to the KCHW Morning Show. It is myself, Chuck Ritchie, Scott Allen, and we are here with our special guest today, Kevin Dorin, who's going to be performing live tonight at the KCHW Northern Lights Theater. Very exciting stuff. Very, very exciting.
All right. I want you, Kevin, for this segment, I want you to start off. I think you've got a very interesting history, and you're international because you were just mentioned briefly too that you spent some time in Canada. So kind of give us a startup, maybe how you got interested in music, and a little bit about your life in Canada and your life in the U.S. Give us a little bio.
I've had a really lucky international life. There we go.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was born in Canada, but I actually grew up a lot of my early childhood in the Netherlands in Europe. And then I came back to Canada, and that's when I started to fall in love with music. I played sports as a kid growing up. I absolutely loved playing sports, but I got to a certain point playing sports where there was certain sports I was fairly good at. And I would see people be disappointed when I would beat them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I discovered music, and I found that there was more joy in it, sharing that activity with people, because you could collaborate. You didn't have to compete playing music.
Yeah.
And so that's a intention that I've ridden on as in the music business, because I've worked as a band manager and live sound. I've done live sounds for some fantastic bands, and it's always a collaborative effort, and so that's something I really love about music.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about that before, Scott. Any kind of theater stage production, there's a sort of a vulnerability that you have to put out there that it makes you connect with people a little bit better, I think, too, than the typical sports thing. So
absolutely.
So now you are a resident of the U.S. and living in Coeur d'Alene, correct?
Yeah, I'm actually living in Sandpoint. I absolutely love Sandpoint. There, if nobody's gone, there's a venue called The Hive in Sandpoint that I'm a consultant for, and it is. I know this because I've brought somebody from Austin, Texas, who owns an amphitheater, and a guy from who actually lives in Coeur d'Alene now, but he was big in LA, and he's written, I think he sold a song catalog for like $30 million.
Wow.
And I brought them to the Hive in Sandpoint, and they've both told me this is one of the most beautiful venues in North America for its size. Under capacity is like 850 people. So the live album that you introed the show with here, I recorded it there. It's the first live album we've done there. And I'm going to be doing a songwriter showcase at the end of September there. I think September 28th. And we're going to be doing all of the Sandpoint songwriters that I've met in the 10 years that I've lived there. Because I'm sure you guys are aware of this. There's so many musicians in the Pacific Northwest and the Inland Northwest that are fantastic. And I have a suspicion that in the coming years, especially Spokane, there's going to be some of the greatest talent in America is going to be coming out of this area. And that's just for me, like I said, doing sound for hundreds of bands around here. And I used to do that up across Canada. I promoted shows across Canada before I came down. So I've seen, 30 bands a week for months at a time. I've seen a lot of talent, and I particularly think that there's something going on here, something culturally that's special.
I agree with that. Yeah, I definitely see that. We're trying here we're starting to get together a master list of local musicians, not even so much locally, but regional. Trying to just spread this around to local musicians and spread out like a little release form, basically, that I made up, because we don't want to give out people's information without their permission. But basically, I'm trying to get this form out so we can start getting this master list, and it's not going to be just posted out to the public, but other musicians that want to connect and create, collaborate and work on projects, people throwing shows, promoters, that kind of thing, anybody looking to hire somebody, and really start getting that culture really moving and really get going, and at least I think having that starting point, because you hear all the time, hey, I want to throw a show. Do you know anybody? Hey, do you know anybody? And I want that answer to be, yeah, we've got a list right here. So,
and Kevin, is my memory serving me correctly that you also have a recording studio where you can bring other people in and help them?
I used to. During the evil disease that shall not be named, the companies that created audio gear, they finally made a big step, and they started putting analog front ends in these little recording devices and recording interfaces. And so the real pro about that is that now 10,000 songs every day are uploaded to Spotify. People are creating an immense amount of music. Now my contention with that is somebody who used to own a studio with a lot of analog gear, and I made my own microphones, modified my own microphones. I have a lot of education from some fantastic world-class engineers who taught me, is that the knowledge is not there. People seem to think nowadays that because you can access, tutorials and so much knowledge through YouTube, that you don't have to have a mentor, you don't have to apprentice under somebody for, skills that require an immense amount of knowledge. And I was lucky that I came up at a time in audio engineering where I was able to sit in a studio and just listen and just watch. I went to a school in Mississauga, which is right next to Toronto in Canada, called Metalworks, and Prince owned one of the studios in the 6 studio complex there. And so I was very lucky to sit in and watch world-class records get made. And back in the day, you just sat in the studio, and if you said anything, they kicked you out. You were there to just learn. You were there to just learn and listen. And that's kind of the catch-22 nowadays, is that if you want to learn to record, there is an immense amount of knowledge out there accessible to you. But being able to watch somebody who is like a world-class engineer do it in front of you is incredibly more advantageous. And you can get some of that knowledge by reading books of the old engineers from the 50s up to the 90s, because they had so much knowledge about microphones. They could build a microphone. Like, that's why I learned to modify my own microphones. And that gives you a higher percentage chance of capturing magic, I think.
The wisdom of the ancients.
Exactly.
Yep.
So you might find this kind of interesting is through streaming, we've acquired an audience much larger than Chewelah. And when I go in and do the royalty reports and stuff, one of the things that totally blows me away is our number one place for listening, our number one country is Germany. It outweighs the United States. Second is Canada. And I mean, some months we'll get 2,500, 3,000 hours of listening out of Canada, and these platforms, have their minuses, but they have their pluses in those ways too. Now, you had a band that you were part of that saw some success in Canada, correct?
I did, yeah. It was a band called Bigger Fish Than Guns, and we had a pretty meteoric rise. I'd been doing music business and training for music business, and then bands kept telling me when I was managing them, they're like, hey, we'd jam guitar and sing songs after, and they'd be like, man, I think you're better than we are. Like, why are you managing?
Nice.
Right? And so I started my own band with some friends from high school, which I think is the best way to do it. And within 2 years, we had a song on the radio in Canada. We'd won $25,000, and we got to open for some bands that were our heroes, like AWOL Nation, and we almost had a shot to open for one of my favorite bands, the Queens of the Stone Age.
Yep.
But that kind of got robbed from us, and that came back full circle. I think a year before the evil disease, as I called it earlier. I was just hanging out in Sandpoint, and I'd never really played restaurants or anything before. I prefer to play ticketed events where I have a captive audience. But a lot of my friends needed business at their restaurants because, the economy was starting to get to where it is now. And so I told my friend I'd play at his restaurant, and he's like, hey, you got to come down early. And I always come down early because he gives me like a free steak. So I was like, oh, I'm in. And I showed up, and Queens of the Stone Age were sitting there at a table.
Wow.
And I was like, man, this is one of the coolest things I ever got to do is I got to play for their families and entertain them. And that was surprisingly one of the most joyful things I've ever done because even over the last year, I was teaching drum students, young drum students up in Canada for a while. And I'm teaching No One Knows Queens of the Stone Age song to like 10 kids a day. So it was really cool to give a little bit back and entertain them and their family for a little bit.
That is very cool. That is cool. So are you on, you are currently on tour, is that correct?
I am currently serving pizzas at a place called The Forge in Sandpoint so that I can afford to go on tour.
Okay.
There are so many musicians out there, which once again is fantastic. But it means that from somebody who's been trained by major label managers and worked on the music business higher up, I've seen the difference in the upper echelon of talent and then the masses, the mediocrity underneath. And we have a surge of mediocrity out there with all the musicians that are currently going out and playing. Because there's a lot of people who, during the pandemic, they're like, oh, I really don't want to do my job. I should invest more time in playing music. And so they have, and they're out and they're playing at restaurants and they're playing at beer halls and things like this, and it's fantastic, but it's oversaturated the market. So, the top percentage of entertainers and performers like myself who invested their entire life into it, we're now sharing the pie with all of these people as well. So it's, once again, that double-edged sword, but it creates competition, and you have to be resilient. And so I think it's going to be really good for the world as we go into the new technological advances, artificial intelligence, all these kind of things, for more people to be creative and playing music. So ultimately, I'm very excited about more people doing it.
Well, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with like the Spotify and these online things. Yeah, they have their huge disadvantages and their downfalls, but at the same time, the creativity and the people that would never be seen otherwise that are coming out with amazing stuff.
Absolutely.
It's really neat to sort of see this explosion. And yeah, there's a lot of, you kind of swipe through like, but then there's that one that just blows
There's a gem
you
out there
away.
somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you can break through, if you can find a way, the challenge that I have, because I consult for a lot of musicians from the business end, the challenge that I think that is the most detrimental of our current zeitgeist of culture is that musicians are expected to be business people, because there is no income for managers. There is no income because the royalty streams for recorded music have been destroyed by Spotify, and they are the main culprit of this. I can go deep into it, but I won't.
I've heard other bands, professional commercial bands, talking about this. How YouTube and Spotify have ruined the music business for professionals and their ability to make
took
money.
Control points. When I went to school, I learned about the record distribution system very intimately. And I remember I had a CFO of a major corporation who was our accounting teacher at this music business school. And he was listening into our record label class, and he was hearing about the structures of the record industry. And he said, wow, like they have managed to create an immense control point in distribution. And that is unique among industries to have that much control, because you can monetize, you increase your profits exponentially because you have that control. Now, since that was when digital downloads were just starting on iTunes, that control point has moved up much, much, much higher. And the consequence is that you have the immense, unique, magical talents, which is what I like to uplift people like that, and I like to seek them out and help them get their music out, because they're often the people that aren't great marketers. They're often the people that aren't, that it hurts them to sit on social media and create quote unquote content, right? Because that's not what they are. They're artists creating magic. And so without middlemen, managers, agents, publicists, tour managers, friends who want to come out and can make a little bit of money, from the 50s up to the 90s, you could make a little bit of money doing that for your friends' bands. You could take 10, 15% cut. Now there's not enough money for those middlemen, those support roles to be able to exist. They have to do it on their own volition. They end up losing money helping out their friends' bands. And so I think the most talented artists out there right now are choosing not to either record because they can't afford to record in a way that does justice to their music, or they're just playing in their backyard for their friends and their family. And that is kind of cool in a certain way, because it means that you're getting this incredibly unique, limited experience from some of the greatest artists. But it also means that they will probably never get heard by the masses, which I don't personally think is good for culture overall.
Yeah,
so can you put this in a perspective for the average person? I know I used to have CDs that I sold, and I stopped years ago, and they were like Sounds of Nature, meditation CDs, things like this. And I would have them on iTunes. And at that time, I think you got, let's say you sold a single track for 99 cents, you would get 49 cents of that. Has that changed, or is that still about the rate?
Well, it's still the rate if you choose to go to iTunes and do digital downloads. And that's why the live album I was talking about that I recorded in the Hive and Sandpoint, you can go to my website and you can download it for free. Or you can choose to give me whatever you want for it, whatever you perceive that value to be. And if one person gives me $20 for that digital download of the live album, that makes more than, let me see if I can get this accurate. I think it's about 20,000 plays on Spotify.
To add up to the same amount. Wow.
Right? And so I've done this math, and I won't get too deep into it because it's actually a little bit depressing, and that's not what I want to do. But when you get into the math and you think about, like, Green Day Dookie was one of the most inspirational albums for me. I must have bought 4 copies of that as a kid because I played it so much and I scratched it up so much, and I just like dug deep and deep into it. And so I thought, how many times have I genuinely in my lifetime listened to the whole album of Green Day Dookie, and how many to each particular song? Because I would listen that whole album through, but there were some that I would put on repeat. And I did the math, and it's tens of thousands of times over a lifetime. So the ultimate reality, and this is my perception based on a lot of research and a lot of people who are deep in the industry, is that when you go on Spotify and you see an artist and they have, 16,000 monthly listeners and 32,000 plays on a song, those are not real metrics. It's a game. It's a numbers game that is played out, and it's lies. And the music industry and the numbers have always been lies to some extent. But this has come to a wild part of the industry, or in the time in the industry, where people who are good at gaming a system are able to get more opportunities than artists who create great art. And that's what I call the great mediocrity. Is that if you're good at using your laptop and you have an aptitude for social media and for following trends, which I don't downplay that at all. That is an incredible skill, and it's a very important skill with the systems of today. That is going to get you 10 times farther than if you create a great song. That's the bottom line. And you'll hear people who have way larger reach in the industry than me that will echo that sentiment and double down on it. I've talked to 5 managers and I don't know, hundreds of agents in the last year, and I've got a consensus from all of them. They are not looking for talent. They are looking for a product that they can push through the algorithms and market because they need to feed their family and their kids, and that's how you do it, unfortunately. And it's not by finding premier talent. So that's something that I always have been pushing back against. And I did a songwriting competition for 4 years in Sandpoint. We gave away, I have a sponsor, Joel Shoemaker Guitars, who's a luthier who's born in North Idaho. I'm playing one of those guitars today. And we gave away 2 of those guitars in this songwriting competition, and we gave platforms like at the Hive for these younger songwriters to be able to play, and just a little bit of fighting back like you guys are doing here, right? And that, I think, is a qualifiable value, not a quantifiable value. It's something, it's magic. It's somebody going and hearing a new artist for the first time that the algorithm would very unlikely have found for them.
Yep.
And then making a personal and emotional connection. It brings you into a realm where you start to experience music in a different way. And like, I think you guys were talking about analog mediums earlier. Then kids start to go and they start to like go get their grandpa's record collection and they listen to a record and they feel the music because it's what they call in audio engineering psychoacoustics. It's what makes your body feel vibrations. And when you get into these newer digital technologies, unless you really know what you're doing, you lose the psychoacoustics and you also lose the ability to touch the product and smell it. And I love it when my parents come. I have their old record collection, and I make them put a record on when they visit me. Because they go, they touch the record, they smell it, and then they remember the entire time that record is playing, eras of their life.
Yep. There's definitely something with that tactile feel, and I think that's why through all these years, through the 8 tracks, cassette tape, CDs, vinyl is still here, and I think it will always be here to some extent. And
we haven't found a better medium for fidelity yet.
Right. And again, I've got one of my 17-year-olds. Has a record player, likes buying vinyl. I've got a 33-year-old stepson. He's so easy to shop for at Christmas. We just buy him a few, send him a few vinyls, and it's really neat. And I was at Black Sheep here, our antique store, and I walked in just passing the time, seeing what they had. Walked in as she had this massive stack of like classic rock vinyl on the counter. And I grabbed a few things. I didn't have a lot of money on me, but I grabbed a few and brought them in here. So good stuff. And like I said, that tactile, being able to feel it and touch it and smell it. Smell it. A lot. I'm a smeller, man. I think there's a lot of stuff about that gets overlooked. So
I miss my vinyl collection. I at one point I sold everything I owned and I traveled for a couple years, and I was having that yard sale selling everything, and I had a great, from being a DJ, I had an awesome record collection, and nobody's even looking through them or whatever. And this about 13-year-old boy comes up, and he's thumbing through my album collection and pulling stuff out, going, "Oh my God," and going, Dad, look at this. And he's like begging his dad to buy these like 3 crates of albums. He's like, "Look at all this stuff." And he's like, no, we're not going to spend money on that. And the kid tells me and my dad get out his old classic rock collection and we listen to the albums. And I could tell it was something this kid loved. And they milled around the yard sale a little bit more. And like I said, nobody had been buying them. And I said, "Hey, you guys, come over here." And his dad comes in. I said, "Can I give these all to him? I don't want to upset you or anything." And he's going, "What?" And I said, "I want to give him all these albums." I could see the love for music in this kid's eyes. And the time he spends with you listening to music, and he goes, "Well, I don't care." And I said, "Take them." And they both did a backflip, So I know that cool. I don't have it anymore, but I know that my collection went to that kid, and he thoroughly enjoyed it. So
that's cool.
That's an incredible thing to do for a kid.
Well, and unfortunately, and I know we've talked about this, Scott, we have a record player here that can be patched into the board, but the sound difference between the vinyl and the digital is too much different to maybe
when you're going
it's
across
like a
the
train wreck.
airwaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the fidelity doesn't last when you're turning it to radio. But
Yeah.
if you have an analog system with an analog amplifier
Mm-hmm.
and speakers as well, that's something that I would say you have to be careful about using too much modern speaker technology, because the modern speaker technology, though they still charge a lot for a lot of these speakers, they are not superior technology.
Mm-hmm. No.
And you can go, one of these cool rabbit holes you can go down on YouTube is you can go and you can see these old historical museums where they have sound systems from the 50s that were hand built by people, or like paper cones on the speakers, like delicate speaker cones. And people go and they listen to records that they have listened to their entire lives, and they hear and they feel things through these like old vacuum tube systems, breaths, that happens before a huge part of a chorus that you've heard in your favorite Motown record, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's parts of music through different mediums that transfer, and I know this from being a mastering engineer and doing the end process of recording, where you put it through really expensive gear and you use really expensive speakers so that you can make sure that song sounds good, whether it's on an iPhone or it's going through an old cassette radio, or that's something that's also been lost in modern music, is people aren't paying a mastering engineer anymore. That's one of the things I consult artists to do. I say, if you're going to invest in anything, if you're going to record something on your $500 interface you got, that's awesome, but send it to a mastering engineer just so that you know what these people can do, because these are the engineers that have listened to hundreds of thousands of records, and their brain is trained to hear music in a way that is exceptional.
Yeah.
And I have an album called Invisible Lines that you can get on streaming, and I've sold thousands of CDs over the years of this album. And if I passed away tomorrow, I would be proud of this, because I had it mastered by an amazing engineer out of New York, and it went through a piece of gear called a Fairchild that's worth like $70,000 to $100,000.
Wow.
It's like got 46 vacuum tubes in it, and it's the sound you would recognize as the Beatles. It's this three-dimensional thing that was unique to the Beatles at first, and it's been used forever, ever on, and emulated forever, ever on. But it created a product that, to me, when I play it back on multiple different systems, especially analog systems, it sounds three-dimensional. Or if you have great headphones, it sounds like you're in the room with me. And so, though it may not be my most popular record, down the line, who knows, it's the one that I'm the most proud of. And it's all also one takes. All of it is one takes through microphones that I manipulated. I changed the components in and built them, and through analog gear that I collected. And so that was the goal, was to be able to make records like my heroes, where you sat down in front of one or two microphones in front of an analog system, and you captured a moment, a real moment.
Wow. You've excelled at that, because listening to the live tracks the other night on your website again, the way you've done it, I felt like I was there with you playing. Like I said, I have this emotional response to music where I can even cry, but I'll get goosebumps, my hair will stand up and stuff. Rarely happens with recorded music. It generally has to be live for me to experience that. But I had that experience listening to your live stuff on your website. And that's, I know that when that happens, that there's something special. As an example, never a fan of Elton John. Okay. His music was okay. It's good, but I was never a fan of the music where, Elton John's got a new album, I got to go out and buy it. Then through working at a radio station, I got to see him perform live. I was in the front row, and it was when he did his tour, it was just him and the piano. It wasn't all the showboating stuff.
Oh, wow.
And the minute he started playing that piano and singing, I broke down like a baby right there. It was, and that embarrassing. Guys aren't supposed to cry. I'm at this concert or whatever. I don't think I'd ever been in my life so moved by music as sitting beside Elton John while we played a baby grand and sang. It was one of the most amazing experiences out of my life. And I get that from your music, and we want to help sell out the rest of the show for tonight. So, Kevin, will we take this point? Will you help us sell some tickets and play a couple songs for us?
Yeah.
Oh, most definitely. Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm excited to.
All right.
Yeah. So before, well, actually, you can tell us in the mic when you get over there, what you're going to play, and
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to this. Hopefully, we'll
Now,
get this.
I'll throw out, if you want to get set up, I'll go ahead and ramble a little bit here.
Yeah, do that.
And just let people know you can get tickets. We've got links on our Facebook page. You can go to kchw.org. You can go to northernlightspublicradio.com. And there's posters around town that have those QR codes on them. You can just snap that with your phone and go right to it and sell the tickets. When we get close to being sold out, we will be shutting that down.
Mm-hmm.
So do it early today if you want to hit tonight's show. Once again, it is at our studios, and if you've never seen the KCHW studios, we're at 214 East Clay, which on the front of the building is the carpet store, but we're on the exact backside in the alley where a radio station belongs, kind of kitty corner from Sporty's. All right, so that's where you'll come for tonight's show. Get your tickets, and here is the man. Oh, Chuck, give a brief tease to the other people that are going to warm up for Kevin.
Yeah, so there's a newly formed band. This will be their first time. Well, they've both played in other bands separately. I think they're even a band together for a while out of Colville. They are called the Martins, and they're going to be doing a few songs before Kevin starts tonight. And they're putting, I believe they're going to be doing one original, and I know there's an Amy Winehouse cover they're going to be covering. I think it might be a couple Amy Winehouse covers, and then one of their original songs that they've been working on for a while.
Great chance to support public
very
radio
excited.
and the arts. And are you ready, Kevin?
Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. So tell us a little bit about what we're going to be hearing, and let it rip.
So this first song, I wrote this a long time ago. It was on that record I was talking about, Invisible Lines, that I'm really proud of. And I stopped playing it for a while because I think it's a spirit of the times kind of song. And for better or for worse, I think these are the times to be singing it. And this goes out to a friend of mine, Todd, who I've been writing some songs with. He owns a beautiful venue down in Texas, and he's been pushing me to sing this song more. So this is called Moses. Moses came down to the masses, said, I'd tell you what I saw, but I forgot my glasses. And he was interrupted by the voice of the crowd, saying 40 days, 40 nights, still no food to go around. So Moses said, look into the heavens, be glad you weren't born in the year 2007, 'cause that's what I saw, and it made my heart cold, knowing that in thousands of years freedoms are still bought and sold. So I've been reading books about war and thinking how those armies fought through hurricanes and thunder. But when I'm staring at a wall of water 1,000,000 feet tall, it'd make me feel small, and it'd make me wonder. Oh no, don't go, that's what they're telling me. Oh no, don't you go speaking your mind. Oh no, don't go. 'Cause boy, what do you know? Well, I've been writing books about love and slipping in every smile I can think of. Oh, I'm gonna go downtown to that bookstore and baby put my book beside every book about war. Got an angel on the left and the devil on my right, and they are bickering over who's wrong and who's right. Oh, but when you're seething, you're spitting and screaming, you forget about breathing. So I ignore them and go on with my life. Oh no, don't go, that's what they're telling me. Oh no, don't you go speaking your mind. No, don't go.
know? Boy, what do you know? Well, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I keep living just how I'm supposed to. You can tell me that I'm wrong. You can tell me that these words I'm singing are ring ding-dinging in your ears, and that's what's bringing down your tears. So if this is not a warning you want, just lean forward and turn your radio off. But you probably still feel me saying it. Oh no, don't go. That's what they're telling me. Oh no, don't you go speaking your mind. No, no, don't go. 'Cause boy, what do you know? Boy, what do you know? Moses came down to the masses, said, I tell you what I saw, but I forgot my glasses.
Ooh, very nice. Very nice. Did you want to, wow, and what was the name of that song again?
That one's called Moses. There's 2 versions up on streaming you can grab right now.
Okay, very cool. Did you want to do another one for us for a minute?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So this is kind of my flagship song. I'm going to be booking as many shows as I can throughout the rest of the year, because I think we all know, without talking about it, that things are going to be kind of crazy in the world. And this song is something that I feel like I just reached down and I grabbed this idea when I moved to the United States, because I was inundated with American media for the very first time, and it was so intense and so terrifying. And so I had this mantra come to my head: I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid. And I've been singing this for years. I've got a recording and a music video I talked about earlier I'm really proud of. There's the live version of this recorded at the Hive. You can get off my website on the main page.
It's good too. I don't mean to interrupt, but it's a great recording of that.
So if you guys are going through something in your day and you've prayed, you've meditated, you've done your yoga, you've gone for a run, you've worked out, you've gone swimming, whatever it is to get your mind right, and you're still not quite there, I hope this is one more tool that helps you, just to sing this mantra.
All right, before you start it, hey, Chuck, can you, when he starts, can you turn off your microphone? We can hear all your clicks from the mouse going through underneath him. So just so you have a heads up.
Thank you.
The devil is the distance between. Here I am, I built it with my dreams. Body right and bloody scene. But it's simply not what it seems. Oh, the suffering, it's in the seed. It's sowing, reaping, feeding me. Kick me to the chest, baby, hit me with your heart. I'm pulling on all of your anger. Treat me like the world tried to rip us both apart. You're just telling me how much you love me. It's a funny little game, but this is just the rain. I can hear the storm still coming. Too many gonna drown, weighing us down. I can hear the sound. It's the devil in the distance calling. I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid. I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid. Oh, I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid. I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid. The devil is the distance between our choices. Quickly while I'm in the lead, just get your tape and measure me. When I fail, I'm falling free, rejoicing. Love and love it torches, love and love it torches. So listen to the voices. Oh, not all of them are tragedies. Some come down to help you see you just need a witness. The devil's in the distance. Hit me to the chest and hit me with your heart. Pulling on all of your anger. Treat me like the world tried to rip us both apart. You're just telling me how much you love me. It's a funny little game, but this is just a rain. I can hear the storm, it's still coming. Too many gonna drown, weighing us down. I can hear the sound. It's the devil in the distance calling. I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid. Oh, I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid. Oh, I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid. I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid. The depths of your heart, blackest part you'd show. It's not so cleverly hidden to be forgiven by your soul. Deep in my mind, oh, I can find a hope that if you build yourself a temple and put your love in every stone, hit me to the chest, baby, hit me with your heart. Yeah, I'm pulling on all of your anger. Treat me like the world tried to rip us both apart. You're just telling me how much you love me. It's a funny little game, but this is just a rain. I can hear the storm, it's still coming. Too many gonna drown, weighing us down. I can hear the sound. It's the devil in the distance calling. I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid. I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid. Oh, I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid. I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid, I am not afraid.
Wow, nice.
Kevin Dorin live in the KCHW studios, and I am not afraid. You can download that one free on his website, kevindorin.com, if you want to check out more. Of course, him and Chuck live at the park. What time are you going to get there today, Chuck?
I'm going to try to get there to be set up before they open at, what is it? Is it 9 a.m. they open or 10 a.m.?
11.
11. Oh, 11. Oh, goodness.
11.
See, look at me. See, that's what time I was thinking about getting there was 9 or 10. I have everything. I've got the car loaded already. I even got my daily stuff done last night. So maybe I'll actually make it there on time today.
All right, Kevin's got some goodies too. Kevin, real quick, what does it? Chuck had said you reached out to us, and what does it mean when you come to a town to you to like Chihuahua to play?
Oh my goodness! You know what? He can't hear you. I'm sorry. He doesn't have he doesn't have his headphones on.
I thought he could. I was like, why is he stonewalling me? All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, bring him back up to the. We're gonna have to end this so you guys can get down to the park. So bring him back up to the microphone. Don't forget on our posters around town, QR code will get you tickets. Also KCHW.org and NorthernLightsPublicRadio.com. Of course, on our Facebook too. Chuck has put some links up there to get tickets.
Yes,
and
sir.
Kevin, I was asking you as you do these shows, what's it mean? I mean, you reached out to Chuck. What's it mean to come back to Chihuahua and play again?
I absolutely love, especially playing in your beautiful theater here. Smaller, intimate shows are the most fun for me because you can connect with people on a personal level. And there's something fantastic, like the live album that I recorded at the Hive. You're on this big, beautiful, world-class stage, and there's an elevation, like you're above the people physically, and that sets you at a certain level. But I think that no matter how good you get at performing music or how elevated you get by, popularity, being able to come and sit in front of, 30, 40 people and look them in the eyes while you're singing and make jokes with them and banter and tell them personal stories, those are my favorite shows that I've ever got to catch. When you catch an artist, on the way up or on the way down, those are kind of, I think, some of the coolest concerts.
We went to see a performance last year at, I hadn't been to one of these great big arena shows Let me turn my camera back over here. I probably hadn't been to one of these great big arena shows since probably my mid to late 20s. I just kind of stopped going to them, and someone came I wanted to see. And, man, it was just, the music was good, but you can't, those big arenas, those huge, huge shows, you can't get the sound good. It's just loud, and just to be surrounded by that, it's so impersonal, and, you're trying to, you're looking at the Jumbotron and in the big screen going, you're not really even watching the performer, and it's not the same, as when you go to a smaller, cozier, intimate theater where it's warmer, it sounds better, You still might not get a chance to meet the artist, but you feel like you're connecting with them more. And I agree 100%. I don't like the big shows. I like a smaller show.
If you come to tonight's show, you will definitely get to meet Kevin Dorin. One of the coolest ones I did, Kevin, you'll appreciate this, is we had a talent show. And there were some really good young kids, I'd say like between 15 and 18 that were still in high school that were really, really talented. And I wanted to showcase them again. So I did a show where I found a regional artist as a headliner. And the first half of the show were these kids. And when we went to intermission, I announced that we had some free snacks. And or you could mingle and talk to the artists. And when the lights came up, the crowd split in half. Half the people went for food, and the other half of the people, a crowd of 30, went and swarmed these kids that had just performed. And the looks on their faces and the excitement that these people wanted to talk to them and pat them on the back and all that kind of stuff, it warmed me up. So you're definitely right about the intimate spaces. So
definitely.
Anything, Kevin, you want to share as we wrap up the show? Talk about where you're going to be playing next, anything like that.
If you guys enjoyed those songs or you come to the concert tonight, I would implore you, not just for myself, but for any artist that you find that you love, go to their website if they have one and join their mailing list. Because I mentioned earlier, my Apple ID is banned by Meta. And that's nothing that I did personally. I just got hacked during the pandemic, and one of the richest corporations on the planet didn't have enough resources, apparently, to evaluate my account. And I also can't advertise on Instagram, which is my largest following of 4,000 people. And so a lot of artists like myself, and I think I suspect that maybe the messages in those songs that I sang may have had something to do with that and a shadow ban going on. But whether that is the fact or not, being able to contact your fans directly through a mailing list, and I only send out maybe 4 emails a year, so I don't blast anybody. It's direct contact is incredibly important because you never know when you're going to lose complete control of your Instagram, your Facebook, your TikTok, whatever it is, because there's no what's the right word? Accountability there. There's no accountability, and those companies leverage our content and our media and our creativity and our thoughts, and they give very little measurable value back to artists, I would say. On a personal level, it's fantastic to be able to, go talk to friends you haven't talked to in forever on Facebook or whatever you use it for. There's so many good ways to use them. But for artists, I call it the corporate vampires. They're sucking the value out of the institutions of music. And so if you can go to an artist website and you can join their mailing list or download my live album, and even just if you got $2, $3, that's more than I'll make in thousands of streams. And that allows me to get to places like Chewila to come play for people. And if that doesn't happen, then, the greatest artists that really put love into their art and they don't just market themselves 24/7, they're learning their craft, they're practicing, they're writing songs. Those are the artists that need just a couple of bucks every once in a while from a fan if you can. Yeah. So contribute what you can. If you can grab some merch, I got some amazing I'm Not Afraid songs and coffee mugs. But if you can't, just come to the show and get a sticker. The stickers are free.
Yeah. And I just want to add a little something onto this, paying artists for their work, showing them their value. The amount of time and energy it takes into learning the craft and practicing. I know it's a labor of love, but at the same time, it's still a labor. I mean, you can go out, you can learn HVAC, in a couple of years. You can learn to be a plumber. You can learn all these skills. This stuff takes a lifetime to learn, and for some reason, it gets less valued in society and culture as And they're all valuable positions. I'm not trying to say that, but it seems to get assigned less monetary value than something that's
it does. I've
easily
noticed
learnable.
though from playing shows like this and going out and meeting people and playing my I'm Not Afraid song and things that like Scott said, hopefully it gives you some sort of goosebumps or if it makes you feel like you're in a magical place. I don't think that on a person-to-person level in music, anything has changed in the last 50 years. People value music very highly, and they value
do.
live music very highly, and they value when you create a recording that gives them goosebumps in a recorded format. They give that value. It's the systems upstream. Those are the ones that are stealing the value. So if you can just find a way to find a great artist and an album that you like. And I challenge you to listen to it on a sound system through your Bluetooth speaker or whatever through Spotify, which is one of the worst compression algorithms of all time. And they've never even tried to improve it. And then get the CD, or download my album, burn it to CD, or just play it directly off your phone. I love it when people just put it on their phone because they go camping, they got no internet. It's the only album on their phone is my live album.
Nice.
So I have like a monopoly over their phone if they don't have internet access. You know? And just listen to it and see if you can tell the difference of how it makes you feel. Because I personally believe that it's pretty profound. And then if you even push that through an analog playback system, like an analog receiver and some nice, vintage speakers, that's a whole nother way to experience it, right? And so that's just what I would say as a message of somebody who's trying to promote other artists, not just myself, is try and realize that, like Chuck said, probably tens of thousands of dollars have gone into an album that we will never recoup. And that used to get paid out by publishing companies and record labels. And they those advances that they used to give to allow you to live, those don't exist. So we have to work at a pizza place like I'm doing right now, in order to pay for us to be able to tour. And so I think that there's even maybe potential for more value in future recordings in artists because they're putting so much heart and soul and their blood, sweat, and tears in other jobs, just like you do. We don't just get to play music. Very few of us do nowadays.
Yep. Agreed. All right.
So what you want to do is buy your tickets so that you can see Kevin tonight live on a vintage sound system at KCHW.
That's right. It is a vintage sound system.
Guaranteed to sound great.
It is a vintage analog system for sure.
Thanks for traveling so early this morning, coming to hang out in Chewelah for the day. It's totally awesome being on the morning show. I wish I could be there tonight. I will be there in spirit, and I cannot wait to listen to the live recording of tonight's show. I'll get a sneak peek at that before everybody else, so I'm thrilled about that. Thanks so much, Kevin. At least for me, I know Chuck's thrilled too. We're very excited to have you on our stage tonight. Thank you.
Scott, Chuck, thank you guys both. And you guys are awesome. This is a pretty incredible setup you've got in this town here, and I love coming back here.
We're pretty excited about it. Right now, I'm just, after there's some things been happening last month or so. I'm so proud of this town, and I'm so happy to be here. So thank you so much, Kevin, for coming.
Other than that, have a great day. Get your tickets. Keep on listening to Northern Lights Public Radio. We are KCHW 102.7.
You like children? I do if they're properly cooked.
Much better than your joke, Chuck.
Yeah. Same joke, better delivery.
More than us.
That's the story of my life.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
This concludes the broadcast from World Control.
It's 9.
Alrighty. All right, let me make sure we're all off here. We got extra mics on. I'm trying to make sure we're all off. Okay, we are good.
All right.
All right.
I'll let you alone if you need anything today. I should be available.
Okay.
So
I was
Good
here.
luck.
I was here till late last night. I got everything reconfigured over there, and I think I got everything sounding really nice. I can control everything over there, going through the studio, through the remote desktop, hopefully. I think at least enough to at least, not have to run back and forth every 5 seconds to check the sound in here and over there. But yeah.
Were you able to get the applause mic into a computer?
Yes, I do. Yep, I've got it all set up. I tested recording it separately on separate tracks, so we'll get some audience interaction there with it. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm learning all this stuff as I go. I'd been on the morning show with Scott for years, but I wasn't allowed to touch any of the buttons until I took over the station. So
I have a thing when I record a show, and like you've probably noticed it on some of your recordings, all your mics are on stage, so the applause is always muted when you finish your song. And for people get really excited even in a room of 50 or 60 when they love it. And to have the artist get done and you barely hear this applause drives me nuts for the rebroadcast. So I was telling Chuck, I always run a room mic to get the audience and then mix it down, track mix it later on. And when you're done playing, bring up that audio applause and then get rid of it as you start to talk again. And I think it just for the rebroadcast, it adds that kind of you're there to it.
That's brilliant. I totally agree.
Yep. Well,
all right, guys, break a leg. If you need anything technical, or I can help by running a computer or watch something in the studio for you, just let me know.
Okay. Yeah. If you wanna log on during the show and keep an eye on anything, I'll have my phone with me, or we can have a message up on the screen going on.
And just remember, like when he started tonight, I noticed you caught that the levels were hot.
Yeah.
Just remember how powerful his voice is.
Yep.
And give him some headroom.
Well, and I had cranked the mains to try to get that guitar up, and I wasn't really sure where. I had turned his vocals down, but I wasn't really sure where that mix was until he started.
I was all intimate with the microphone, but when I perform, I adjust for my volume on my own on the mic, so you shouldn't have to worry about headroom.
Yeah. And this one, like I said, because of the Phantom mic in here, it's not really a vocal mic, but
it'll be much easier when I'm performing and do my levels.
So we'll watch it. If you need help, let me know. And I just like, when somebody goes out of their way to perform for us, I like to be able to give them the best recording of their show that we can too. It's as much for us to rebroadcast as it as something for them too. So.
And you know what I realized?
Trying to capture it on video.
Yeah. Yep. I've got the camera. So I was trying to get 2 camera angles on there, but again, with that other computer out there with that long USB cord and 2 cameras, it just crashes.
So just a little side note is I don't know where you're capturing the audio for the webcam, but we can do something afterwards since we have the video. Usually the audio recording through Cool Edit's way better than, especially if you're using the webcam speaker or microphone, they're horrible. But if you put that into Google Drive, I can grab that video on my end, peel the webcam audio off, and put the nice processed Cool Edit audio behind the video. So.
Okay, yeah, cool.
All right.
And when we were doing the show this morning, we were doing our sound check, and I was, recording it, recording the sound check. And while he was singing, I'm like, oh, let me go, click record real quick. It was still recording from the sound check. We recorded the whole show. So,
okay,
it's still recording now.
All right, guys, have a fun day.
All right, man.
You as well.
Thank you, Kevin.
Pleasure.
Later, Scott.
Later.